Brent, how would you assess the kicking competition so far?
Through camp, I mean, they're both kicking really well. Numbers are pretty similar. Both have fixed what I asked them to fix when they left. And we'll see who makes them in the games, and we'll make a decision after that. We'll talk obviously to Joe and to Sala, and we make the best decision what the team is looking for and what we need.
Maybe this is an obvious question, but how much would you like to have some stability at that kicker spot this season?
That is an obvious question, I think. No, obviously, I mean I think we've had I don't know how many guys in camp since I've been here. It's quite a few, and I'd really like to get that settled down. To be honest, and that was a big focus on bringing Greg and re-signing Eddie and letting these guys compete, and both have experience and both have done a good. Eddie came in and did a great job for us last year, so if you can find stability at that spot, and get your three specialist spots, like have those stable at least, then, your core is always going to change, but at least your three specialists are working together all the time, and you have the same guys, you're working with the same guys all the time, and I think that'll really help this football team.
Rashod, having that experience with those guys, that gives you kind of a body of work to kind of work off of in addition to this, because some of the young guys, this was their first camp.
Yeah.
Does that help in the evaluation process?
I think so. The more you can see, the more you get to know them, right? And so it's just like any other player at any other position. The more you can watch these guys, and then you figure out the things that they're misses, if they miss right, if they miss left, or if they're and that's, you can tell them and you can coach them, and you study thousands and thousands of reps of these guys, and until you develop a good enough understanding of what they do well and what their faults are. When they do that, you can coach them on it.
You're searching for your guys, and especially the young guys, and you're trying to figure out who you want to keep. How much do you get out of these practices versus preseason games? Because I feel like special teams in practices you're not hitting. So how much do you get out of these practices versus those preseason games?
Well, I think that obviously for any position, I think it's the games is what matters. But they put themselves in great game shape, where they're earning their spot here, and those continual reps, if we can trust them, if they can play multiple positions, if they can do all those things, I mean, that does nothing but help their case to make the roster, right? And then it all comes down to, they execute the game plan in the preseason, and are they the kind of guys that this team wants to keep, and I think there's some guys out there that really, I think I'm excited about, and there's a whole bunch of guys that are battling for a few spots, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in the games.
With the two kickers, you mentioned how they fixed what you asked them to fix. With Zerline, he's been around so long, usually guys get set in their ways. Like, what, with him, how does that apply to him?
It's just very, very small issues, for him it was, a very, very minor issue. And it wasn't, not even a big issue, but it was more just trying to adjust his ball flight a little bit. And he's now it's, instead of slicing or hooking every once in a while, now he's hitting it clean and hitting it straight. And for Eddie, it was Eddie's rise last year. He wasn't getting a good enough rise, and he's fixed it. And so both of them done a really good job so far. We'll see where it takes us.
Rashod Davis is a guy who's flashed his speed on offense, and is he a guy you see as a potential contributor?
I watched him the other day. Who knows where it all plays out. Obviously Braxton's our guy, and we're really happy with him, and he's a heck of a player and stuff. And we'll see. This kid has some legit juice now. He can roll, and he's a soft catcher, and I think that he's got a future for sure. It just depends on what we do with that position.
What do you see from Braden Mann this year, and was his performance at all impacted last year by that injury he had early?
For sure. I think that if you look at his last 4 to 5 games, that's what he was going to be all year. I think he really, really improved towards the end of the year. He was finally getting healthy again. I think he's gonna. I look for a big year for Braden. I really do. I think he's as talented as anybody in the league.